Greetings, peace and blessings. I'm Anthony Washington. I'm the guy who helps you in the chaos, clear the confusion, start scaling your business with industry leading training on business systems. I'm the conduit basically between what's happening on a micro level with so-called bigger companies and and on a smaller scale. I don't believe in saying small business. There is a classification for small business that I don't know who is the governing. I don't know who the governing body is over that, but there is a classification for small business. But I don't use that term, small business. Any business that you start is a big endeavor. No matter how many employees you have, no matter how much revenue you have, it's big to work for yourself or to not only work for yourself, but to employ other people, to create an economy and stimulate an economy for a community, for those around you, for a group of people. And I think that is not to get too deep in the woods or on an altruistic rant, but that's what entrepreneurism means to me. And I want to talk about the subject how blue collar workers can become the new wealth class. There's in business, in the economy, in life period, an ebb and flow. Technology, we've experienced a technology boom, and I'm somebody who understands the stock market. I'm in the stock market pretty much every day, and everybody has their different methods. You have the VWAP, you have the moving day average. All of these are called indicators, but they're actually technically called lagging indicators because there's nothing that can reliably predict the future. Everything that is stated on the chart. Let me see. I probably have a chart up right now. Everything that's stated on the chart. See, I'm very basic when I'm watching Goldman Sachs. I got a few things. I'm out of the market right now. I'm not touching the market right now because it doesn't know what it wants to do. But my point is, what I'm saying is, there's indicators. This is the moving average. This is the VWAP. These are lagging indicators. Okay, they can be as close to the minute as possible, but it all depends on price and volume, which has already been done. It's a lagging indicator, so it takes time for things to catch up. Big money, the ones who are actually moving the orders, they have more sophisticated ways of knowing when to enter the market, when to exit the market. So it behooves you to try to figure out what they are doing, but not to get off subject. The point is there are ebbs and flows in the market, in any market that you're dealing with, and it takes time for some certain things to catch up. And there's always trends. There's always something that's hot. And so for a long time, what I'm saying is for a long time, now there's always been room for the blue collar worker. Always been room for the blue collar worker. But up until I think the last probably decade, there's been a gap. There's been a divide between. I'm here in San Antonio, Texas, so we have. I don't want to really name drop, but we have large HVAC companies, heating and cooling companies, and there is a marked difference between the smaller companies and the bigger companies. What separates? They're all blue collar workers, but somebody who is an operator or a manager of one company may not be looked at as a blue collar worker. They probably don't get their hands dirty at all. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's scalability. Certain companies have been in business longer, to where they to where they can accumulate capital to begin to invest in the growth of their business. Dispatchers, more trucks, more technology, and for a long time that was reserved for companies that had a lot of capital infusion, or were able to scale quickly, or for whatever reason they had the capital, either the accumulation of capital or investment capital. They knew people who would invest in their business, and they were able to grow and scale their business, and that was exclusive to a certain. It was just exclusive to the certain ones who were able to benefit from that, or who had those resources. Now, a blue collar HVAC professional, with himself and maybe a one or two person tech team, tech people, can operate just like one of the bigger HVAC companies, and scale, and keep their overhead low, and really position themselves to become the new wealth class. I use the HVAC example because I have somebody very close to me that's what he does, and that's been trying to kind of, he's in that kind of old school mentality of just hustling, and he makes good money. But I'm like, man, I'm telling you, there's a better way to do things. How you can leverage your knowledge, leverage the existing customer base that you have. He works basically off of referrals, and so I'm telling him that there's a way to systematize what you do. It's not. I'm not saying that it's easy. The concept is simple. The execution might not be simple, but there is a proven blueprint. There's a proven pathway to scaling your business and playing on the same level field as the bigger companies. I'll say some names. Like down here we have John Wayne Company. John Wayne. I'm not sure how expansive their operation is, but I know they're heavy right here in South Texas, and yeah, they're a juggernaut. But there's no reason why a smaller company can't operate quite like that. It just takes a matter of observation, seeing in online business. I know, me as a digital marketer, there's I guess the term people will use is funnel hack. I funnel hack all the time. I'm seeing what other people are doing, the top people are doing. I'm seeing what the Ty Lopez's are doing. How are they getting people to opt into their email list? Gary V, Frank Kern. I'm seeing what everybody is doing, and gathering bits and pieces to implement into my own system, and something that I can teach other people. And the point of that is that with a few tweaks in your technology and a few tweaks in your mindset, blue collar workers are primed to be more. They're more primed than anybody to become part of the wealth class, because they are at the cusp, and they are on the pulse of what's really going on in the economy. Again, I was talking about lagging indicators. A lot of times it takes quite a while for data to be interpreted. Data, it can be instantaneous, but it takes a while for it to be interpreted. So what does that data mean? What is that data telling us? And for those who are isolated in cubicles or in offices, at the top floor of a company, they're in Zoom meetings, and they're paying attention to a whole lot of other things. The ones who are on the ground, the construction workers, the delivery drivers, the post office workers, the again, the HVAC professionals, the people who install security systems, the any of those professionals, truck drivers, of course, dispatchers. Well, not so much dispatchers. I mean, they're part of the industry, but and they definitely have a pulse. Anytime you're at the ground level of the pulse of what's going on in blue collar work, whether you are actually involved in it yourself or you're a manager, a dispatcher, and you know exactly what's going on. You can see the changes in the market on the ground floor level. If you're a delivery driver, you can pay attention to the package flow, the deal, the package flow, the freight, how much freight is coming in. I know I used to be a delivery driver myself, and I say that was some of the most valuable time of my life because it gave me a chance. I started off early in my career. I went to college for a little bit, and I jumped into the sales world at a call center, and I made decent money at the time. Not having a lot of foresight, but again, I made decent money. But there was nothing like when I made the transition to becoming a delivery driver, a courier driver, and it was only supposed to be temporary till I found another sales gig because I really liked sales. I really thought I could make a splash in sales, and I still consider myself a salesperson, but I just had to do a little pivot, and I ended up being a delivery driver for 8 years. And during that time, I was able to kind of disconnect because when you're on the phone, you're doing sales, uh, you can get you can just get clouded. You're because you're focused in a certain lane, a certain world, and you're not able to see certain things. You're not out and about like when you are when you're a delivery driver or any type of blue collar work. Blue collar workers usually are very mobile and transient, and so they're able to see things. They can, if they have the mindset to see. Um, Now I don't want to get spiritual, but they're one of my favorite passages in the Bible. I believe in Kings is when Elijah is with his servant, and they are in a situation. I don't want to misquote it. I need to go back and read it. They were in a situation to where they felt the threat of attack from an enemy, and Elijah was calm. He felt the confidence because he knew that he had backup. He knew that he had backup, but his servant that was with him couldn't see, and then or he couldn't. The backup wasn't visible to him, and then Elijah prayed to God that Lord open his eyes so that he could see, and then when that prayer was answered, the servant's eyes, his spiritual eyes or his literal eyes were open in a whole other way, and he was able to see chariots of fire all around him. And so the enemy came upon him, and they saw it too, but he hadn't seen it before. But again, I don't want to. Again, oh, it's amazing. I think it's called the reticular activating system, something like that. The reticular activating system. It's like when you get a new car, and then you start to see other cars just like yours. And probably been the same number of cars just like yours all the time, but now that you have one of those, you see them everywhere. It's that same. Once you get exposed to something, to a different way of thinking, it's hard to go back. And so a lot of what I try to serve my community with, those around me, those who are willing, who want to level up, is just the exposure to things that they didn't see before. And so, being a blue collar worker, there's nobody else in a better position than most blue collar workers because, again, they're mobile and they're transient, and they're able to see trends on the ground floor practical level, not in a Yeah, again on a ground practical level, they're able to see trends, spot trends before anybody else because of being mobile and everything. And so that having that mindset to translate that into practical business applications puts you at the forefront of being able to, and then being able to interact with customers. You're able to solve problems differently. Now, I'm not saying a blue collar worker needs to abandon being a technician if that's what they want to do, or abandon being a manager or dispatcher. But you can contribute on a whole nother level if this is your business, or if you want to go into business for yourself, or if you want to level up your company, if you feel that investing in your company and you want to level up the company and you want to maybe be more of an asset to the owner, to the business manager, or however you fit in that cog, is just about being a blue collar worker that has an expanded awareness. If you want to contribute to that, it's all about finding those problems and finding a way that technology can solve those problems better, in a more efficient way, in a way to reduce overhead, add to the bottom line, add more customers, add more lead flow, whatever the case it may be. Maybe add more technicians, or be able to hire people, or contract out people. That's the model that I'm gearing my partner towards. Is he has this lead flow, and you don't necessarily have to hire these technicians, but you can insert your if these leads are coming to you, you can insert yourself as basically a dispatch company, or basically a deal flow company, and collect your commission, your fee, however you want to put it, to distribute these deals out, this workout, and basically hire contractors. It's a lot of ways you can do it, and we're still trying to really pinpoint how we're going to go about it, or how he wants to go about it. And there's always budget constraints. There's always resources constraints. There's always being able to just find the right help. You can conceptualize something, and then actually executing it does take the right resources, the right pieces. But again, having the expanded awareness to even start looking towards that, the answers will start to come. It's inevitable. They all what's the term? If once the student is ready, the teacher appears. That can apply to so many things. Going back to that reticular activating system. Once you're aware of something, once your mind starts looking at a problem, it starts the universe, God, whoever, will start bringing solutions in your purview. And so, the reason why I even sparked this idea for me was I was reading this article. I was reading this article about this guy. His name was Frederick Winslow Taylor, and he was basically the foremost authority on productivity and business management systems, and everything that I preach, everything that I am basically a nerd and obsessed with: systems, how to simplify processes, how to automate things. He was at the forefront of that back in the early 1900s, and he's largely forgotten. He's largely not ever talked about. I know Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker is somebody that I've studied, and I'm very much a fan of. And this was one of his forerunners. This is who he looked up to. So it tells you a lot about him. But I found this interesting down here. How he had more of a his pedigree was very of the highest order. He was an aristocrat he was very much an aristocratic pedigree, but through a weird quirk of fate, like it says, Taylor went to the shop because he had a problem with his eyes. And so he went to, instead of going to Harvard to become a lawyer, he went to work as an apprentice machinist. He became a blue collar worker. So this man with this pedigree of a great education up to that point, and living a life of privilege. And again, I don't want to disparage, or make a division between any classes or anything, but he was of the higher class, right, coming up, and so he wasn't exposed to certain things as far as business. He wasn't on the ground floor, like I was saying. And usually that this is a class thing, if you grow up a certain type of way, you're going to have more of a proclivity to be steered into blue collar work. And blue collar work, first of all, is noble at any rate. There shouldn't be a division or any type of judgment on anybody who does blue collar work. Blue collar workers, there's plenty of blue collar workers that make way more than the PhDs. So let's get that straight first and foremost. But again, there can be a disconnect and a lack of awareness, and it goes vice versa. Again, system blue collar workers usually aren't able to see the bigger picture as far as how business works. And so this man, he was probably groomed. I'd imagine he was probably groomed in a certain way to look at business. And once he became an apprentice machinist, a blue collar worker, he started to look at things in a totally different way. He started seeing the problems that were a part of the productivity in the steel plant. And I'll leave a link to this article so you can read it. It's pretty long, but it's pretty fascinating about how this man's mind worked as far as productivity. And in this society, that's what technology is all about. It's all about solving problems, gaining back just increments of time, because ultimately that's what society is looking for, is to buy back their time, gain back their time. And that shouldn't be exclusive to people of a certain ilk, of a certain pedigree. Anybody can learn how to buy back their time, how to shave off hours of time, and to gain hours of productivity. And that's what I'm obsessed with. Again, getting the most things done in the least amount of time, the least amount of effort. I'm actually probably inherently lazy, to be honest with you. But I think I probably outwork the majority of the population, right? Not to sound self-righteous or anything, but I'm working furiously at this point in my life towards an end to be lazy. And that's actually a trait I've read. That's actually a trait of a lot of the most successful and productive people, is they actually are lazy, and that's what contributes to their being able to be productive. And so this guy, Mr. Taylor, having the benefit of seeing both sides of the spectrum as far as business, he became the foremost authority in productivity. And even up into the 70s, he was lauded as that foremost authority. And then I had never heard of him, and I'm pretty privy to the productivity space, and I had never heard of him. And seeing Peter Drucker give him all this praise makes me want to dive deeper into his mindset. And I haven't even read this full thing, but I'm gonna read it later on. But it just sparked that idea in me, and knowing that me coming from a blue collar background, and then me being a principal in several businesses, running business for myself, being in business for myself, I think it just confirms to me basically the what I knew is my advantage, what I feel will be my advantage, and what can be the advantage for so many other blue collar workers that I know, and for anybody who wants to level up, is that it just having that mind, changing that mindset, putting yourself into the mindset of a business owner, a business manager, but still keeping the essence of what a blue of the blue collar work, and being able to tap in with what's going on at a practical level, at a ground floor level with the customer. Um, what's the ebb and flow of the true economy, and ahead of what the data says, ahead of what the latest report says. Um, I was able to spot trends like in real estate, being a real estate wholesaler. And hindsight is 2020. I wish I would have been more proactive in my pursuit of properties and things like that. But me being on the ground floor, being a delivery driver, I was able to see so many trends happen here in Central Texas 10 years before they've actually started to pop up and come to fruition. And so it just encouraging to me to keep the spirit of a blue collar worker, but still utilize technology and automation and just that systems mindset, systems and scale mindset to to really carve out uh, uh, carve out that wealth for myself, and not just for myself. And again, this is to inspire anybody who's a blue collar worker to not limit yourself. Blue collar workers are more poised than anybody to become the new wealth class. If you're if you're again as a delivery driver, I in 2 years I wholesale, which is not a ton, because I know people who do this on a monthly, quarterly basis. But in 2 years, I was able to wholesale 80 properties, all while driving my delivery van. I was able to drive around, see vacant properties, see what's for sale, um, see trends in construction, who's starting to buy up these lots, who's starting to buy up over here, and I was able to insert myself into the market in that way, and be beat other investors to the punch on certain things, because I'm right there. I'm on the ground level. I'm actually in the streets, seeing somebody put the for sale sign up by owner that day. Noticing, okay, that wasn't like that yesterday. That wasn't. And when you're in the office, you can get stuck in the office 2 or 3 weeks at a time and not really come outside, and or you're driving to a direct destination. You don't have time to take those detours. You don't have time to go through the back streets. You just got to go your regular way, and you might miss certain things that you might miss that new for sale sign. You might miss when that person moves out, and it can take time. It can be over the course of 8 years. I was able to see things and say, okay, that used to be this way. It's not that way anymore. Let me see what opportunity that presents. So that's my little diatribe for today. Champion the blue collar workers, how they can become the new wealth class, and then once that new, and then of course, the foundation of wealth is ownership, and so you can make more money, you can generate more leads, and get more business, create more cash flow. But then, what are you going to do with that? And so that's also something you want to consider is. What's that next level of ownership? Is it, of course, acquiring real estate is always at the forefront, and then acquiring other businesses. I think right now is one of the best times, the golden age of acquisitions for following the Blackstone and the KKR blueprint on a smaller scale. Why there's no reason why a small HVAC company. I keep on going back to HVAC. There's no reason why a small HVAC company can't absorb and acquire a smaller HVAC company, or yeah, or a group of haphazard contractors, and then organizing them, and then becoming scaling up to a bigger company, scaling up to a full service company, not just offering HVAC, offering plumbing, offering roofing, all under one scale, all under one roof, one operation, because you have the systems in place to organize people. It's not the person. This is a quote. It's not the person with the most information or the best information always. It's the person with the most organized information. So if your information, when I say information, that could be a lot of things. It could be data, it could be customer information, it could be appointments. Having that organized, being able to have that organized, you have a funnel for when inquiries come in, and having somebody in place to when an inquiry comes in, because everybody has online forms. Contact us for a free quote, but then it goes to your email, it goes to somewhere else, and you don't get to look at it for a day. You might miss a day or two and come back. Oh, okay. And then there's so many times, um, there's so much opportunity that service based businesses miss out on because they simply don't even have that intake process, to where when somebody it has that intent of looking for something, of buying, they fill out that form that you have on your website. They want a response, and they're gonna probably fill out your form, but then go on to the next person and call the next person who answers the phone, or who gets that form and calls them back immediately. That's who's gonna win the business, and those are the little things that bigger businesses have. A lot of bigger businesses have that little smaller businesses can